So I'm up about $60,000 so far on US 30 short. As I said in the last video, US 30 is about to take a massive doo-doo, and Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to doo-doo right alongside it in their own separate little porta potties. That all just occurred, but I've already locked in about $35,000 in profit, and the trends might be shifting here. So the big question next is, what's the next big trade? Let's look into it.
If you're looking for the next 100x crypto project to buy into, you have come to the right place. My name is Fous, and I have been a professional day trader for nearly 20 years. I deposited $20,000 into an account, and in just over a year, it's now worth nearly $2 million. On this channel, I'm going to present to you the best altcoins to buy, such as getting into Mana before it ripped 595%, getting into Dogecoin before it ran 15,000%. So if you want to hear about all the best trade opportunities first, hit that subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on the notifications bell so you can get these time-sensitive trade ideas immediately when my new videos go live.
All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Not financial advice. Again, this is just me doing some things with my own cash money. What you do with your money, I really do not care. I do this for educational purposes so you can watch and learn and potentially learn a few things, and then you can replicate the ideas and theologies I use in the future to potentially use for your benefit and make some money. So first and foremost, we were talking about US 30 in the last video. Prior to this massive 2,300 point move to the downside off the top, 2,100, 2,188, 6% dump on US 30 right off the top. And again, I did stop out a few of my positions and I started adding, waiting for a bull trap, which occurred right here with the high about 35.5. My stops were at 35.6, very close to stopping out of my full position, because if this sustained and had a confirmed breakout above this trend, that would have indicated a potential reversal in the markets and a continuation maybe towards all-time highs. That wasn't the case. My sentiment was that we were going to see a pullback, and indeed we saw a massive pullback, made a shitload of money. If we look at my screenshot here I posted on Twitter, I locked decent size of my profit of about $35,000 profit on the US 30. I was also long gold, and surprisingly, gold and silver just took a huge crap also with everything else. Typically, when you see US 30 and Bitcoin dumping, people are taking that money off the table of those assets and putting them into gold, and you see gold rising. So it was surprising to see that gold actually ate shit, and I stopped out of gold at about 1925 after getting in, 1940, 1952, because I was expecting to sell off on US 30 and Bitcoin, which then was leading me to believe that the inverse of that was people were going to put money into gold and silver and see it rise. Unfortunately, that did not occur. So I took a small loss on gold and silver, and I still have open positions short. You can see my entries at 35,345 and 35,423, which was open profit about 35,000 at the time when I posted this screenshot. It's now about 25K open profit currently, as US 30 is now bouncing back up. Brief interruption from today's partner, none other than Shirio, the online trading card game powered by the Ethereum blockchain. Did you know that the card collectible industry is expected to grow to 26 billion by 2026? There's games such as Hearthstone, which is online card collectible gameplay, and then there's Magic the Gathering, which is actually holding physical cards collectible gameplay. Shirio is bridging the gap and creating an NFT card game online on the blockchain, and this is actually super cool. Let's just take a look at what's going on here. First off, let's just take a look at some of the gameplay they have going on here, giving you an example of what Shirio is. It's basically just a card game, very similar to Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, a lot of the popular games out there. There's actually 23 million Hearthstone players out there. So there's a lot of opportunity with Shirio if this thing actually does take off. It's actually already live at the moment. You can go to the marketplace and start buying your own individual cards based on legendary, rare, and or common, right? So you can go through here, find out what are the best utility for these cards and actually make a decision to purchase it. You can also purchase your identity NFTs, which are these little cool wolf faces that kind of give you personality within the actual game as you play. In addition, guys, just some more information on the Shirio token, which could be a potential big opportunity as an investment, but you also get a lot of benefits and utility by being a token holder of the Shirio token. Some of the benefits include borrowing decks from the game so you can actually play the game by just borrowing it simply by holding the token. Others are entering tournament mode, which will give you the option to set up a tournament with a minimum entry wager for people to come play you. Another big thing they got going on, which is coming soon, is being able to buy assets and build on the land of the new upcoming Shiryoverse. Being a token holder also allows you to mint game avatar NFTs, which are these cool little wolf faces. You also can stake your tokens to then receive free packs of the NFT game cards. You also get the right to mint the cards, so then you can actually hold your own cards in your actual wallet and possession if you're a serious holder, as opposed to just renting out cards from other people. You get a wager against other players and also participate in the Game Balance DAO, where you get to have voting rights with making the game better as a whole based on the user votes of the token holders. But anyways, guys, Shiryo.com, very cool project, especially if you're interested in games like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. And also, if you were looking at it as an investment opportunity, there is also the Shiryo token, which could be reversed if the bull market comes back into play and people are looking as a potential investment opportunity. If there's any success in the NFT card game sector, Shiryo could definitely be one of the ones to make it big. But anyways, guys, that's a wrap. Shiryo.com. Back to the video. I definitely think we could still continue to rise, potentially upwards of, 34.4, 34.5 up here, back into the Trendex indicator before we actually start coming back down again. I do believe that this could just be a middle ground area where we see this pivot point here and we see another flag pattern form up somewhere in here and then see a next leg down. And I have my profit target set anywhere between about 32.6 to 7 to these lows down here, where we see, a potential bear trap washout down below here, retest the negative level trend line, and then see another bounce off of there. So ideally, I'm hoping to see a washout, come back down to the lower level of the actual channel here, where I can lock in some of my big gains. And if we do see another washout, I'll probably take another one of these positions that I have open off the table, and then maybe keep one last position open for a longer term, if we see an actual big boy washout across the board on US 30. And is that going to happen? I have no idea. But all I know is that the market's up big. There's a lot of fear out there. When the fear sets in, you see big doo-doo drops like we saw back in coronavirus, okay? And that was how big of a correction was this? This was 38%. That's the kind of correction we're looking for. What is this correction so far? Off the top, we're only down 7%. A 38% drop would push us back down to about 22,000 if there was some sort of equivalent event again like that, which is definitely possible. I'm just looking for the trade here. I'm looking for 32 to 31,000, somewhere in those ranges to lock in gains. And then if we saw a dip down to the downside, there would probably be some sort of bounce, then potentially reshort. And so that's the current situation on US 30. That was the only open trade I took because it was in an area at a resistance point with a bull trap here, which was a much better risk reward. Ethereum and Bitcoin were both already in the middle of moves, as we saw here on Bitcoin, right? We were getting short Bitcoin up here, but to then, be in the middle ground, like anything in between the two kind of inflection points of support and resistance, you're in a gray area. And when you're trading in the gray area, it can go really either way, and your risk reward is much different, right? It's a lot less in your favor because the big move off of a support and resistance zone isn't really there anymore. So I wasn't really trying to trade anything. I was short a little bit here. I did get stomped out for small profits and then finally saw a little bit of a washout. But as of right now, we didn't see any kind of sustained move when it broke down below the 38.5 low on Bitcoin. And actually still is this looking like this could be bouncing in this range. And if we look at the actual closing price chart, we're actually sustaining in the closing price channel for the bulls at the moment. It looks like we were breaking down right here on Bitcoin, testing point here, testing point here, testing point here, looking like a breakdown right here. And then we turned into yet another bear trap where we sold off below the 38.5 lows. If we look at the candle chart here, looking like we were breaking down, things were looking nasty. Like, okay, maybe we're going to come back down and retest the actual trend down here, which is these kind of candle lows. And it's pretty close, right? Not that far off of that area, which is definitely a potential buy zone down here at about 37.5, which I've been talking about in the previous videos as a level to potentially be buying in. Unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is happening while the US market is open, which I think the US market opens here in Bali about 9:30 or 10:30, depending on whatever daylight savings is going on. And I'm typically in bed by about 10:30, going to sleep. As far as trading the the stock market open, which is also why I retired from trading stocks after moving out here, is because it's just not sustainable and I'm asleep. And so I'm not awake during US stock market open hours. So this whole entire bounce here all happened in my sleep. When I went to sleep, we were about down here, about 38.3. And at that point, I'm like, okay, this could be a bear trap that's forming up here, but I don't know yet. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. I don't know what's going to happen. So there's no trade for me at that point. And then I wake up to see Elon's bid is potentially being accepted by Twitter. Twitter rallies, market rallies, and we see a big bear trap bull rally back into the trend X resistance zone again right here. So we're still just kind of forming up in this zone right here, but we're still below the trend X indicator right now on Bitcoin. And if we look at Ethereum, we're also right back into this resistance level, right? We got the pivot point about 3,000, came back down 27.9 lows, right back into trend X, right back into the 50-day moving average. So as of right now, this is a bullish reversal candle, but again, we're retesting the lows of which were used to be support. It's now resistance. Now we still have the trend X resistance. Again, this still could be a very, very bearish pattern. If we look at Ethereum overall, we're in the middle of the gray area right here. Okay. Like the overall channel of Ethereum right now would suggest definitely a much more probable case and much more opportunistic level to buy in the dip would be between 26 to 2,500. Okay. Back down near these channel low areas, as opposed to buying in the gray area. We are in the middle of an overall pattern, right? When you're in the middle of an overall pattern, it can really go either way. You don't really know. It's just a less of a high probability to go in either direction. And as of right now, if it's going to follow anything to do with this current trend that's happening, the likelihood of it going down here, much more probable than it just kind of, bouncing in the middle of this pattern, right? It could happen. We don't really know. But as of right now, there isn't really indication of a trend reversal that's happening. It's below the trend X. It's now retesting the 50-day moving average and retesting the actual channel breakdown, all resistance points, which would suggest a potential area where people are going to start locking in profits from the dip buying, potentially getting reshort to potentially sell off into this zone right here. So as of right now, Ethereum is in the middle ground. It's in the gray area. For me, it looks more like a pullback to 26 to 25. But if we look at Bitcoin, this looks like much more of an area where people would be buying the dip here in this range down here for a potential run up back to another level of resistance to lock in profits. But US 30 guys, I think at this point, this is going to be just a relief rally and the trend is going to continue to go bearish. I'm still short. And if US stocks continue to actually pull back here, I think that's going to weigh heavily again, still on Bitcoin. If anything, I would be getting out of my Bitcoin long. If I would have bought in the dip down here, if I would have been awake and decided to take that position long, I would be looking to get out of my position, right? Because we do have this, if we look at the closing price bear channel that's going on here, connecting here, this is going to be resistance, right? Right into this range. We got the 50-day moving average, this resistance point here, maybe get above the trend X indicator. But I think overall, we are looking like this bear flag might play out on the overall longer term view of Bitcoin. But that's not to say that's going to happen. If we all of a sudden start breaking out above this channel, I would definitely potentially be looking at a potential long position. If we consolidate in this range, in this converging triangle zone here, okay, this is kind of like a make or break moment for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin drops below this, guys, this is going to look nasty, okay, for sure. But if we break out to the upside of this, that could definitely signal a move to the upside in a potential long position across the board, across all altcoins to potentially get in some longs and then, see this thing unload. Pew, pew, pew. And then gonna actually eat shit again, okay? Because every time you get a boner, you shoot your load, you deflate and eat shit right after that. You go right to sleep, okay? It's just facts. The way the world works, that's physics. That's how trading works also. Okay, this is a watermelon. Okay, but that's basically what we're looking at here, right? We are meeting at this triangle converging point. It's really just an if-then statement at this point, okay? My overall view is bearish on the market, but this doesn't mean that I can't trade long and potentially get in some longs if we do break out above this, breakout back above the 50, breakout above this longer-term trend line that's going on here. That would definitely signal a potential move to the upside, okay? But I'm not gonna take that trade until we actually see some sort of confirmation of that happening. And right now, I'm more so biased short, still looking at short to hold my position short. I might even add again the profits that I took on US 30 if we come back up to about 34.5 for another leg down. Because right now, fear is in the air. All these people that were longing up here, hoping for a nice little breakout to the upside, and then seeing this breakout to the upside, everybody just panic buying in like, oh, here we go. This is finally it. All those people are underwater and freaking sitting here super scared right now that might be the time that we actually eat shit. Everyone above this zone is underwater right now, okay? That's a lot of shares of the stock market that people are sitting in fear right now that this thing could continue to drop, right? And if you look at the overall scale of things, we're still up there near all-time highs. We're not that far off, but a lot of people that are up here are scared that we could actually see a sell-off. And if that happens, it's going to be some panic selling and actually a big liquidation event and a big pullback in the market, which is then going to bleed into Bitcoin and Ethereum. So right now, looking at any altcoins, not really something I'm doing. Overall, I'm just bearish on the market. But if Bitcoin, again, breaks out of this watermelon pattern, the Tangmo, my girlfriend's name is Tangmo, which means watermelon in Thai. So if the Tangmo pattern plays out here, I could be potentially be getting some longs, checking out some altcoins to be getting into that are forming up in some patterns. But anyways, guys, that's basically just my outlook on Bitcoin at the moment, right? These are the key indicators. If we break down below this level here on Bitcoin, shit's about to hit the fan. We're going to come back down to 30K. But if we break out above this zone, time to get long, look at some altcoins to buy because there's going to be some rallies and we'll probably have some more update videos in the coming weeks as this pattern, the watermelon pattern, plays out. Anyways, guys, that's a wrap for today. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.